Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 23rd, 2024, 6:00 p.m. Meriwether County Board of Commissioners meeting. This time I'm going to ask if you'll silence your phones or any electronic devices that may interrupt somebody speaking or the meeting. And we'll start off with our invocation, and I'm going to ask Mr. Blue Cole, would you do the invocation? Then please remain standing for the pledge.
Let us pray. Father, we have assembled before you today to conduct the business of the people in our local community. We ask that you guide our words. We ask that you give us wisdom, and we ask that you continue to bless us in this beautiful place that you have given us as our home. We ask all these things in your name and in your son's name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing we need to do here this evening, we need to adopt the agenda. Have the commissioners had a chance to look over it? Is there anything to be changed, or do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we actually have a item to add as number 4 under new business. It's the extension for filming at the covered bridge that we discussed last time. I got a phone call literally just an hour or so ago from the location scout. They need just a little bit more time. So I'd like to ask for space on the agenda to discuss that.
Is there anything else that needs to be added?
Yes.
Oh,
Is it proclamation to Gregory Bill's not going to be able to be here tonight, so we're going to schedule that for them. And we'll make sure he is available.
So just remove number 2 under presentation.
Right.
See it.
Under the presentation.
Oh, the presentation. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. So we'll just stay with that. All right, with all that said and done, is there anything else we need, or do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
So move.
Second. We have a motion by Chairman Threadgill, seconded by Chairman Worsley. All in favor?
We vote chair.
Yeah, we're all getting there. Thank you for pointing that out. All right, well, we've adopted the agenda. We're going to go right on down to presentations, and the first one we have is a proclamation to recognize Manchester High School, the Blue Devils football team. Welcome them here to do. We're glad to see y'all here tonight. And we've got a proclamation here they've asked me to read out. If you'll bear with me here with it. This proclamation of congratulations to the 2023 Manchester High School football team. Whereas the Manchester Blue Devils football team competed in the Georgia High School Association Region 6, A Division 2, and whereas the Manchester Blue Devils ended their 2022 season in round 2. 2023 season.
I took that off.
2023 season. Okay.
Took that off there.
My apologies. This does say 22, but I'm sorry. I should have caught it earlier. Their 2023 season in round 2 of the state playoffs with a loss to the eventual state champion Ballard Red Devils. And whereas the Manchester Blue Devils opened their 2023 season against the
Here's what it is. They ended their 2022 season.
Yes,
In a game with Ballard.
it ended. I got it down. My apologies, but we're going to start right there back. Please forgive me. Whereas the Manchester Blue Devils ended their 2022 season in round 2 of the state playoffs with a loss to the eventual state champions Bowden Red Devils. And whereas the Manchester Blue Devils opened their 2023 season against the Bowden Red Devils, who were defending the state champions and ranked number 1 in the preseason polls. And whereas after a hard fight game, the Manchester Blue Devils came away with a victory by the score of 21-20. And whereas the Manchester Blue Devils' next opponent was from a much larger school Columbus High School out of a Division AAA. And whereas despite playing an opponent from a larger region, the Manchester Blue Devils again came away with a 54-3 win. And whereas after a tough loss to the Lamar County Trojans with a score of 17-14, the Blue Devils bounced back with a 35-3 rout of the Marion County Eagles. And whereas over the next 3 games, the Manchester Blue Devils defeated the Chattahoochee County Panthers by a score of 46-0 in their homecoming game. Then regional titles contender Macon County Bulldogs by a score of 18-7 on the road, and their cross-county rival Greenville High School by a score of 42-0. Whereas the Manchester Blue Devils' next game ended with a heartbreaking loss to the Schley County Wildcats, and whereas the Blue Devils came back strong with a regular season ending game by defeating the Taylor County Vikings by a score of 42-0. And whereas the Manchester Blue Devils ended the regular season in victory and poised for a strong playoff run, and whereas the Manchester Blue Devils rolled through the first 3 playoff rounds with 49-0 win over the Mount Zion Eagles, a 35-0 win over the region champion Johnson County Trojans, and a hard-fought victory on the road against perennial power Clinch County High School by the score of 21-17. And whereas the Clinch County victory propelled the Blue Devils to a semifinal playoff game against the Trojans, and whereas in the front of a record-breaking crowd, the Manchester Blue Devils pulled away in the second half to top the Trojans by a score of 35-13, setting up a rematch with their Week 1 opponent, the Bowden Red Devils, for the Class A Division II state championship. Whereas in a hard-fought game that went back and forth, time expired with the Bowden Red Devils leading by a score of 28-27. Whereas the Manchester Blue Devils and the Bowden Red Devils played 2 games against each other in 2023, with each coming away with a 1-point victory. Whereas the Manchester football team consists of 53 dedicated, hardworking students with 5 seniors, 23 juniors, 9 sophomores, and 16 freshmen. Whereas 48 of the players will return to play next year, leaving the Manchester Blue Devils as a force to be reckoned with in 2024. Whereas the citizens of Meriwether County are proud of the hard work and dedication of the players, the coaches, and the way they represented our county. And now therefore it shall be proclaimed that the Manchester Board of Commissioners does hereby commend and congratulate the players and coaches of Manchester High School who finished the 2023 football season with 11-3 records, and as a Georgia High School Association Class A Division II runner-up. And so it be proclaimed this 23rd day of January in the year of our Lord 2024 by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. We are so grateful that you represented the county and did an outstanding job, and looking forward to the 2024 season. I take this time for the committee to come down and get a picture with you that presents the proclamations that y'all have put up. Congratulations. What a great job. Appreciate it. Thank you. And we will get all the record copy. That's there also. Come around here. Well, whoever, yeah, you come around this way too. Roland, get over here. You show up, get you in there.
All right. 1, 2. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
We'll get this.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, so we'll move right along. We've got several things to cover tonight. We're gonna go right on into the finance report. John?
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, in front of you, had the bank balances as of 3 o'clock today. The general fund's got $4.7 million in it. All the other funds look pretty strong. Second page.
Next, is there any department heads here to speak to us tonight?
We got one more for finance. Mr. Chairman, the update on the pay scale. We have had good results. We sent everything out for job descriptions. All the departments have just about replied. Next step is working on the job description detail from HR. So we're making progress over there over the past 2 weeks. So we're looking good on that one, and hopefully we can get something to you by April. Or maybe before that.
Any other department heads?
So we don't have any department heads to speak, but I would like to compliment Joel and Cassandra for their work with some timber companies over the last couple of weeks. We've had some that are dragging some mud on the road. They spent some extra time working with them and showing them the correct way to do it. So compliments to code enforcement.
All right, we're gonna move right on into citizen comments. I have to read this out. We do it at every meeting, but bear with me just a second. It says speakers must contact the county clerk. Just bear with there on or before the dates and times listed below in order to be placed on the agenda to speak. Speakers must provide their names, address, and topic they wish to discuss. For the second Wednesday of the month, 9 a.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day before the scheduling meeting. For the fourth Tuesday of the month, 6 p.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting. Speakers must direct their remarks to the board and not to individual commissioners or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual commissioners and county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No question will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy, civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speaker will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. I think we have 2 people signed up to comment. And the first one I'd like to have step up to the podium there is Miss Jennifer Doolittle. Just
Can you
say,
hear
I
me?
just said your name, but just say your
Okay.
name and the address.
Yes, sir. My name is Jennifer Doolittle. I'm at 1191 Fern Road in Woodbury. And I'm gonna go on and tell you, I am not a public speaker. I'm absolutely terrified to be standing here.
But don't be, we're glad.
It's okay. I know you're not scary, but this is not what I do. But who I am, I'm a woman of faith, and I believe in the Lord God Almighty. And He kicked my tail and He said, if y'all gonna go in there and you're gonna lay out your concerns to them, then you go up there and you voice your thanks to them. And so the reason I'm here tonight is to say thank you. Back in October, my husband and I and a lot of the residents around Fern Road, we came in here and we shared with you guys some concerns that we had about the road conditions. And you were patient and you were gracious and you listened. Not only that, you didn't just put it on a list that we'll get to at some point. Some of you, even within 24 hours, had made a trip out there yourselves to say, okay, let's go see what this is all about. And you saw our concern. You saw that there was an urgency to do something. We couldn't do everything right then. We know that the problem didn't arise overnight. We know it can't be fixed overnight, but you guys took steps. And you put the players in motion that took steps to say, okay, what can we do? And what needs to be done moving forward. And for that, I have to say thank you. Because now when it rains, I don't look outside and go, oh boy, am I going to make it down the road? Am I going to make it to work? Where am I going to get stuck? Am I going to make it home? So yes, there's situational awareness. It's a gravel road. I mean, I'm not naive to think it's going to be like a paved road, but there's still work to be done, but somebody needed to come and say, thank you, well done. Keep up the good work. My thanks is not that of like a spoiled kid who got their way. It truly is a gratitude, just to say thank you. It could have been anybody's road, but it happened to be mine. So thank you for that. And then I hope you'll indulge me the opportunity, because the other thing the Lord said I needed to get in here and do was to pray a prayer blessing over y'all. And so I hope that's okay. Okay. Father, I just come to you so nervous, but I know that you love me and I know that you are in control. And so I just ask that you would bless these people who have chosen to lead our county. I pray your protection over them. I pray your wisdom and your guidance and your leadership, that they would continue to lead and lead well. I pray that you would protect them from any kind of evil that might try to creep in. Not only that, Lord, I just pray your blessing over their families. The fact that they're committed to this means that they're not at home with their family. And so I pray that you would build that time back in, that you would bless and strengthen their families just because of what they've chosen to do. Thank you, Lord, for these people who are leading. And I pray that you just continue to help them lead well. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. You're a very second person. And then next on the citizen comment, we have one more, Mr. Hudson.
I'm Charles Hudson, 585 Waddell Road, long-term resident of Meriwether County. I'm also a real estate broker. We recently sold the Meadows Motors properties. And if you look on the second page, top three that highlighted in green, Cherie Carricker bought the old Ford place for $225,000, and the county immediately, assessed the value at $225,000. The Chevrolet place was sold for $625,000, and immediately the county got it valued at $614,000, which they should, no doubt about it. But there are a lot of other properties. Oh, the owner of these properties, he repossessed the Chevrolet place, and he's probably going to have to repossess the Ford place. And he called me and said, look, we got to sell these things. I can't afford to pay the taxes on this with no income coming in from these properties. He said, is all the property in Meriwether County appraised like this? And I started looking on Q Public, and there's only one other green dot on here. A lot of these are so out of whack, and they do not. You've had sales over a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and the value has not come up on the county tax digest. I mean, you've got Big Chick, Manchester just sold for $1.6 million. I know part of that's part of the business and the equipment in there, but it's valued at $336,000. McDonald's is only valued for $385,000. Circle K, $190,000. That's the Drag Incorporated, those two lots combined together. And then you've got other people who are buying properties in Woodbury, commercial properties, corporation called Me and My Mama LLC, and they do it as a multiple tract sale. But when you add up all the properties that were involved, they're half the amount of the sale price. This needs to be updated. It needs to be fair to everybody in the county. There's a lot of money being lost, especially in commercial property. I stopped and talked to your appraiser up there in the assessor's office today. Very knowledgeable guy, and I talked to a lady, I think her name was Mrs. Mason or something too. They were very knowledgeable, and they said they try and do all this on the homes, but said the commercial property is behind in Meriwether County. Well, that's where a lot of the money is. And if you'll notice, I also, had Piggly Wiggly on the first page in green, which is appraised at $1.5 million. That's Piggly Wiggly in Manchester.
Thank you for your time.
Right below it is Angles. It's not much higher.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments and definitely take a look. We'll go right on into the minutes. We had, the minutes of our January 10th, 2024, 9 o'clock a.m. regular meeting. And then we also have the, January 10th, 2024, 11 o'clock a.m. work session that we did that day. Does commissioners have a chance to look over the minutes, and anybody have any questions or concerns, or are they, well, we can go ahead and adopt them. If I have, we reviewed it. We have a motion and second. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the January 10th, 2024, 9 o'clock regular meeting.
Have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Got a motion by Commissioner Collins and a second by Vice Chair Worsley. All in favor?
I'm excited.
Thank you. Next, we're going into a public hearing.
Mr. Chair, he only made a motion to approve the 9 o'clock, so we're gonna need
Motion to
another.
Approve the January 10th, 2024, 11 a.m. work session.
Okay, since it wasn't 1 and 2, I thought y'all could bind them together.
He could have made the motion that way, but that's not how the motion
Thanks, Ken.
was voiced, yeah.
So we got a motion now to accept the minutes on the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock work session and seconded.
Second.
Vice Chair Worsley, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on. The first thing we're gonna have tonight is the public hearing. Number one is case number 2023-0017, rezoning request from John Knight, Chisel Mill Homes, 8.11 acres from NHC to R1. Property is located in parcel 046, map 029, District 2.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is rezoning 8.11 acres. It's from a neighborhood commercial to residential. Oh, yeah, he hasn't. I haven't made a motion. Yeah, make a motion to go to public hearing.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, do I have a motion to go into the public hearing?
So moved.
We got a motion by second, and we got a second. So now we are in, all in favor? All in favor? Now we're in,
Now we're in public hearing.
here we go.
Okay. As you were saying, this is parcel 046-029, 8.11 acres, rezoning from neighborhood commercial to residential R1. This is in Miss Rosal's district. Mr. Knight of Chisel Mill Homes has made an application for rezoning from neighborhood commercial to R1 for the purpose of 5 residential lots. He had gone with 5, and he thought he wasn't going to be able to get water from Luthersville. We thought about going forward, but Luthersville has now given us a commitment letter for the water, so he can go to R1 for 5 lots. The application was heard by the Planning Commission on 1/16/24. Citizens were given an opportunity to speak, and there were several concerns with the erosion runoff going towards the southeast onto properties across Charlie Fuller Road, as well as possible runoff on the southwest of the property on Johnson Road. Bill Cawthorn did look at the properties and said the driveway pipes would be needed depending on placement and would depend on placement of driveway pipes for the runoff. He also stated that the developer will also need to show retention structures on how they propose to not increase the flow to the downstream properties. Property will have water access from Luthersville, so they do have county seawater. Concerning the facts listed above and the recommendation of the Meriwether County Development Department and the Planning Commission, it was recommended for approval of the 8.11 acres from neighborhood commercial to R1 with the understanding that the developer would have to provide ENS plans for the runoff. The developer is here.
The CNS plants run off, there's been some talk, I think, of maybe of having some rip wrap in the check dams and the ditches and the road. That really is not a viable long-term use. It also causes us some road maintenance problems. So the erosion sedimentation control needs to occur on this property.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners and staff. Thank you for being here to hear our rezoning application. I'm John Knight, President of Chisholm Mill Homes. We intend to rezone the property to residential to where we can build 5 homes at the corner of Charlie Fuller and Lone Oak Road. We've been building in Meriwether County for about the last 4 years, and we've put about 40 homes on the ground. You can see some of them in the packet I included with you. They're about, most of the stuff we've been building lately is about 1,500 to 1,700 square feet ranch plans. We're selling them for approximately $350,000 to $375,000. And we believe that they're adding a lot of benefits to the community as a whole. Last week, the community came and voiced a lot of their concerns, and I can go ahead and mention what they brought up and address them as such. Erosion control was an issue that people were concerned about. There will be measures in place during the building process in accordance with code and our erosion control plans. I have included an example of an erosion control plan. It's the last page. That was a home we built on Primrose Road and have since sold. And so we will build our homes in accordance with those, and those will get approved during the building permit process. The water runoff from new grade, we are currently working with an engineer to show when we build these homes, it will not increase the stormwater runoff to the downstream property owners. Bill Hawthorne, as Darren stated, he already told us that that was something we would need to do, and that would be addressed during the final plat approved after the rezoning. Increase in traffic. We're only adding 5 homes here, and we are seeking to change this from a commercial zoning to a residential zoning. So the alternative would bring much more traffic than the residential zoning. Someone mentioned on our property, there's a shed and the sign at the corner. The first thing we would do when we were building these homes is remove the old shed and the old signage, and then all signage would be gone upon selling that corner lot. Wildlife concerns. This property is already clear and relatively flat. The grading of this property should be minimal. There should be no effect on wildlife. Someone mentioned that we were throwing up homes and not caring about the effects to the neighbors. We are very proud of the homes we're building in Meriwether County. You can see some of our product on Primrose Road, Tenny Nelson Road, Gold Mine Road, Forest Road. And we believe we're putting up some of the best product. We believe we're only adding property value to surrounding neighbors as we are selling houses for $350,000 to $380,000, and we're having some success in that area. The water availability, several years ago, we reached out to the city of Luthersville and told them we were planning on building 50 homes, and if they would supply water, they agreed to that. We've used 35 of those water meters, and they confirmed that they would honor that agreement, and they sent a new letter that I also provided in that packet. And then the lack of care. Someone mentioned a lack of care to the community's concerns, that they weren't being heard. But as you can see from this list of items, I wrote them all down. I went and thought about it and how we could address them, and put them all into practice. So I think we're doing what we can for the community. And I think another thing that needs to be reiterated is we're seeking a down zoning from commercial to residential. And the guy I'm buying the property from, Mr. Thurman Anderson, his dream was to put a gas station there. And so all these concerns would only be expedited without this rezoning. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any board members have any questions? Your home that you build there, you'll be doing some concrete driveways out the road?
Yes, sir.
I got any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I think we've got a few people signed up to comment at this public hearing. And at that time, I'm going to ask is it Rosalind Johnson? I may mention, you get 3 minutes to speak if,
Is everybody against or is there some?
okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes.
You need to break them down, those for and those against. There's 16 more minutes on the for category. According to y'all's ordinances.
Doesn't matter which you want to go first, favor or against.
I would go ahead and do those that are supporting the.
Correct. Since you've had the applicant who obviously is in support of the application, do theirs, we'll keep the time. There's a total of 20 minutes for the applicant plus those in favor, so.
So with that being said, you know, we'll do those that are in favor first, and to mention that, you get 3 minutes to speak, or if somebody's gonna represent the four, or whatever, you get a full solid 16 minutes, but we don't have that big of a crowd here tonight, so we're gonna look forward to hearing what you have to say. So if you would state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. My name is Rosalind Johnson. I live at 2276 Charlie Fuller Road in northern Meriwether County. My town is Grantville, Georgia, and I have a 30220 zip code, but obviously I'm in northern Meriwether County. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak here briefly this evening. Thank you, John, for addressing the issues that were brought to your attention at the zoning meeting. I very much appreciate that. I brought up several issues that Mr. Knight has addressed here just now, and I'm very happy that he's taken note of the things that were a concern to us. My property faces the triangle property, 8.11 acres. And I have just handed out a map to you all that was based on the USGS topo map, which shows rivers and streams on it. And I've written or typed on here, it's self-explanatory, you can read it, but the little black dot on that map that's right across Charlie Fuller Road is the culvert pipe that comes out and brings water, overflow water onto my property. And just today I was out picking up trash that had gone through that pipe onto my property. So it's working one way or the other. But I wanted y'all to be aware of where that was situated on my property. If you'll look to the right, you'll see two ponds. The first pond is a beaver pond, and the second pond is a man-made pond. The red line with the arrows going through it is Coleman Creek. This is the headwater of Coleman Creek, begins on my property. If you go onto the triangle property, the 8.11 acres, there's a ridge at the top of it. And the waters that are on the Johnson Creek side flow towards the Chattahoochee River. And the waters on the right-hand side, which are on my property, flow down through the Coleman Creek watershed into the Flint River. So we're kind of in an ecologically interesting and sensitive area right there. So I just want to make sure that everyone's aware of this, as we move forward. So before I finish, I just want to thank you all again for listening to us and listening to our concerns, because we do have a lot of wildlife. We do have a lot of birds, and we do have a lot of aquifer underneath our property, as do our neighbors, and we all drink from that same water. So it's very important that we all guard it very carefully. And I want to make sure that I voice this, that we absolutely get the studies done that are needed to make sure that we're not negatively impacting anything that flows off of this property. And I will be watching and listening and willing to tour anyone around these water features so that you can see just how fragile and how special they are. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Next one we have to speak that's in favor is Mr. Bill Johnson.
Hi there, I'm Bill Johnson. I'm Rosalind's husband. So I also live at 2276 Charlie Fuller Road. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. Just to underscore a few things that Rosalind was talking about. So the property that we own is 65 acres, and we have 700 feet approximately that are on Charlie Fuller Road, all of which is directly across from the 8.11 acre property. We are in favor of the zoning change. We think it's a positive thing for the neighborhood. Our big concern is the stormwater runoff and how that's going to be dealt with. And it sounds like steps are being taken towards that. So we want to stay in touch with all of that's going on there. Rosalind is a Georgia Master Gardener and a Georgia Master Naturalist. I'm a Georgia Master Naturalist as well. We have a great deal of concern in the ecosystem that has been given to us to take care of here, and we want to leave something valuable to the community behind us when we're not here any longer. And along the lines of what we're doing, since we've had the property for 22 years, we've been cleaning up things, restoring natural habitat and plants to the area. And these ponds are really special. And we got involved with the Georgia Audubon Society, which is now Birds Georgia, and they changed their name recently. And they certified our property. It is the only Audubon certified wildlife sanctuary in Meriwether County. And we're really proud of that. And one of the reasons they did that, they came to the property, walked it, looked at all the plants and animals, especially the birds. We have eagles, herons, just a wide variety of wonderful birds. It's amazing to see when all the birds are there. And one of the reasons they come here is because the water is so pure. And so we take it really seriously that our little special piece of land is actually the source of Coleman Creek, runs down, connects to Red Oak Creek, and flows into the Flint River. And so we have in the past had the water tested. We'll continue to do that. That culvert pipe that is on Charlie Fuller Road, it's amazing to see the amount of water that flows off of this field. Putting a lot of impervious cover on top of that field means there is going to be more water running off. And so we're concerned for the effects that it will have on the habitat that we have for the creatures and protecting the water that we have.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you.
That's it. One more on the favor side, Mr. John.
That was my thought.
It was on this list, so I didn't know if you wanted your 3 minutes again, but. All right, well, we'll go back up to the top, and the first one to make a comment on against it is Miss Melissa Wortham, and I think she is going to be on Zoom if that was established.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
can you hear me? Miss Melissa, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but you can't hear us answer, so I don't know what we're gonna do. Can you see? Can you see?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you waving. I can see you waving. Ugh. But anyway, do you want me to text?
We can.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Okay. The water system in Luthersville is, we'd like to, if they need wells, yes, but we don't need any more people tapped onto our system, until we get it level, and we're working on things. So I talked to the mayor, and he told me that I could speak and about this, and I just think that it just doesn't need to have the Lucasville City water tapped in. That's my point. Hello?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm finished.
If you just cut her out there. We're good. All right. Thank you. Well, she can't hear us to say thank you for your comments, but we'll move right on. The next one we have here opposed is Mr. Craig Simpson.
Good evening. I'm not a very good speaker either, so you'll just have to apologize for. The Charlie Fuller. Oh, I'm sorry, Craig Simpson. I got the property there on 95 Johnson Road, right across the road from the triangle that's trying to be rezoned. My main concern is the water runoff. And I've heard some comments they said about the water runoff. But the problem is all that triangle is encased by 3 paved roads, which is Charlie Fuller Road, Johnson Road, and State Highway 54, which contains that water on that piece of property. There's a covered pipe under that road coming onto my property, which is a little over 12 feet from the top of the road. At the bottom is that covered pipe. There's no ditching on that side of Johnson Road, which is my property. There's no ditching there. So when it comes off, it's not a ditch for it to run in. So it will run off through my property, through my pasture, 3.5 acres into the wetland behind our lake. And I was told years ago that that property was protected, that wetland, because we tried to enlarge that lake at one time, but we couldn't get a permit because of the wetlands behind the lake. It would take up more wetlands and it was protected. So I'm really concerned about that, because if all that water runoff comes through my property, 3.5 acres, well, it's going to devalue my property tremendously. And so I'm concerned about that. I'm also, that property has been in our family for 75 plus years. And it's a beautiful piece of property. One of the things I'm concerned about, if he puts those houses on Charlie Fuller Road, they'll all face Charlie Fuller Road. Johnson Road, my house faces Johnson Road. So my house would be facing all the backyards of this property, which wouldn't be what I call beautified at all. I asked at the first meeting consideration of putting a 25-foot wood row up on Johnson Road to protect the beauty of Johnson Road. And at that time, I was told that probably wouldn't happen because they can't tell a contractor to do that on residential land. However, my daughter and son-in-law built a barn on Johnson Road that y'all let them build, and it's a nice barn. But the stipulation was they needed to put greenery the length of the barn on Johnson Road and a wood row on Johnson Road to keep Johnson Road beautified. And their land is residential, and that was like 1.5 years ago. So I would like to see a wood row put on Johnson Road if this becomes to be rezoned, to keep the beautified of Johnson Road in place. And I would really like for y'all to think about that property being beautified.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. The next one here, there's a check and then there's a line through it. So since it's a blue line on a black check, I'm gonna say they changed their mind and now they are opposed. And the last name, I believe, is it Knowles? Knowles? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Knowles. Maybe you had just checked wrong in a hurry and didn't realize
I didn't really realize,
that
understand exactly if we were checking or crossing X's or what. Also, I would like to say good evening to the commissioners. My name is Hazel Knowles. I grew up in the Zion Hill area. I am a property owner.
State your address.
I grew up at 995 Charlie Fuller Road. That's our family property. And I live at 179 College Street in the city limits of Luthersville. But that water system affects my water also.
Yes.
Yeah, they at one time had to close a well down in Luthersville. So they built, I think it's like 2010 maybe. They have a well in Zion Hill. And that's when they put all the water lines in, and they have one on 54, but they need another, the city has to build another, drill another well. I think that is in the works, and it said, I live in the city limits of Luthersville, and when the water levels are low, it affects my water. At the city council meetings, there are people that complain about their water levels. We are operating on 2 wells right now. A 3rd well is planned but there is a process that could be 3 years down the road. I am opposed to this plot of land being changed to residential at the present time because of the added pressure it would cause to an already overworked water system. I feel in the future this would be an excellent space for commercial activity. I do hope you will take everything into consideration and choose what's best for our community at the present time. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next one to speak, it looks like it's Miss Veronica Daly.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Veronica Daly. I own property at 1519 Charlie Fuller Road. We'll be building there this year. My father's property is 1591 Charlie Fuller Road, where the family owns 58 acres. I have my 2 already and expect to receive more. The issue I have, and I was not able to attend the first meeting because of medical issues with my son, but I was told that these houses were going to be about 1,300 square feet. Now, I will say I'm a real estate agent, even though I'm not active right now. I've worked for the state of Georgia in the Section 8 housing department years ago. I've owned a carpets business, flooring business, so I understand square footage. This, if it's 1,300 square feet, now I know he said 1,500 and 1,700 is what they've usually done, but if they're 1,300 square feet, that's a starter home square footage, in my opinion. The problem is that it's $380,000 in Meriwether County, in Luthersville, Georgia. Not that we can't have houses that are worth that much, but they should have more square footage. I did pull some comps, so I had a friend pull some comps because, as I said, I'm not active right now. But in Grantville, Georgia, 30220, and we are on the 30220 route there. There's a 310,000 house being added. That's the asking price, but it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. And when I go into it, that square footage on that one was a little bit more. I can't see it on here. They just have that one I can't see, but it is 1,750 square feet is on that one. There's another one on Tenny Nelson Road, and I just don't understand the comps. That one's 1,590, and they're asking 360,000. Now he's saying 1,300 square feet. You must have wainscoting, all kind of trim, tray ceilings. I'm just wondering what the features are because they look really plain. And just so you understand, I understand square footage, and I understand, I'm not saying this in a boastful way. Right now, I live in Fayetteville, Georgia. I spent about 324,000 for my house. I have 3 levels, 4 bathrooms, over 6,000 square feet. So I don't understand the comps. I don't even understand how they would comp this out to get it sold. And maybe they are, because I guess it's USDA and I don't know what we're doing with numbers, but this makes no sense to me. Then you're gonna raise the property taxes of all these people that I've grown up with. We've been here for years. My family's been here for years because we have family property down the road as well. So how are they gonna, one of these homes that I pulled, it was one of these prices, 369 or something like that. And I think their taxes that year were 3,500 or something, 3,356. So if we put these houses here that we're asking all this money for, that I don't understand the comps on them at all. And if you're supposed to sell a house, you're supposed to have the comps to back that up. So I just want us to consider what we're doing to the people who've been here for generations and how we're going to bump their taxes up to an astronomical amount. But the percentage of increase on the house, I know everything is going up, but 1,300 square feet for 380,000 is a lot of money.
And I agree with you on that, but if you'll let me point out something here, what all's been presented to us tonight has been mid 1,600s, over 1,700 square feet per house.
And I did say that she told me 1,300,
That
but
being said, also in Meriwether County, and we're gonna eventually maybe change it and upgrade it later. The minimum square footage to build a house in Meriwether County right now is 1,375 square feet. And any builder that goes out and builds a house, they all know they put whatever price they want, but that appraiser is gonna come out first.
right.
And if it don't appraise for what he's asking for, that person's either gonna have to come up with some money or they're not gonna get financed. You're in real estate and I'm in building, so I know exactly where you're coming from. But however, our ordinances show that. Now, one thing could be, I guess, the wish of the board or in future zoning is to put a condition of a higher standards.
Yes, thank you. That's really my main concern, because as I said, when you go to Fayetteville and you go in the houses that are priced for that, you're getting your money's worth. They're made with better materials. Your heating is less expensive.
For your time.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, one more. I hope I pronounced this right. It looks like a RJ Papaya.
Yes, sir, the pie.
I did good.
All right, good evening, commissioners. My name is RJ Gapaya. I was raised here in Meriwether County and have a love for this community and its natural resources. I now live in Hapeville, Georgia, and I'm the watershed specialist for the Flint River Keeper, which is an organization dedicated to the restoration and protection of the water quality and the water flow of the Flint River and all of its tributaries. We work from the very topmost headwaters above the airport all the way to the Florida line, including not only the river itself, but all the creeks, streams, springs, and aquifers. Approximately 3,000 people directly support this work, and in excess of 1 million benefit from our efforts to ensure clean water for all the Flint citizens. This evening, I'm speaking on behalf of those members, our Executive Director and Riverkeeper, Gordon Rogers, the remaining of our staff, and our 18-member Board of Directors. Thank you for your time this evening on the agenda to speak to the issue of rezoning parcel 046, map 02 in District 2. Zoning and rezoning privileges. Zoning and rezoning privately held lands is an essential and lawful duty of local government in Georgia. Your role is deeply appreciated and crucial. As you are keenly aware, private property rights are at the center of our society, our economy, and the values that we hold dear as Georgians. In zoning or rezoning decisions, those private property rights must be balanced among both the applicant and the neighbors. In this particular case, there is a high probability that with the present development plan of parcel 046, map 02, district 2, an increase in stormwater runoff will occur that will be demanding on the downslope neighbors' private property rights, therefore, their property value. The increase in the impermeable surface, including pavements, rooftops, and other hard structures contemplated in the development of this type will increase the volume, velocity, and pollution load that leaves the development property. Downslope owners will receive these waters, which can cause erosion and other damage to the owner's properties. There are also valuable springs, wetlands, small impoundments, and streams in the path of these new flows. Of course, our goal is to always preserve these natural features. The solution to this issue is not necessarily denying the rezoning or altering the development density. While both of these solution choices could work, there is a third solution. You can require in your rezoning authorization proper stormwater management practices that slow water down, allow time for the stormwater to infiltrate the soil, and decrease pollution loads. We urge you to table this rezoning decision while the applicants provide the commission and to the public calculations of change in stormwater flows and proposed solutions to control the same for a registered professional engineer. Then please allow time for the county officials and their consulting engineers, time for the neighbors and their consultants to review the data, review the plans, give input to any appropriate changes. These are the things we urge from you today. And again, thank you very much for your time and your efforts.
Thank you, sir. Have we had anybody else that didn't get a chance to sign up to make comment? If not, then I think I'll ask if someone wants to make a motion to come out.
Mr. Chair, the applicant gets a 5-minute rebuttal if they would choose to do so.
Would you like the 5-minute rebuttal, sir? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you again. As I stated, I know it seems the water runoff is the largest concern. We are working with an engineer, and I would like for the rezoning to get passed, and then before the final plat is approved, the runoff and the water management plan by the engineer will get approved before the final plat. And we would have to get the final plat approved before we can receive building permits and begin any development. In regards to the housing prices in Meriwether County, we have created the comps in Meriwether County. As I've stated, we've built 40 homes here and we've sold them for that. So the best comps are right down the street that we've already sold. When we started building in here, we were chasing price. We actually have our office is located in Fayette County. I'm from Coweta County, and my parents they lived in Meriwether County, and that's what drew us to the area. And we started off and we were able to deliver a product, a larger product even, for $235,000. But as everyone knows, the economy went crazy over the past couple of years with the price increase, and that is the lowest we can deliver. And luckily, people are they're starting to come back and buy houses again. We just sold some houses in Fayette County that were similar size, and they were up in the 490s. So we do what we can to cut costs, but the costs are crazy right now. And I think that's all I got as far as additional concerns.
Thank you, sir. Now at this time, with the 4 minutes, I'd like to make a motion for us to come out of public hearing.
Mr. Chair, before any motions made, I do want to just point out that if the board wants to table any action, you would not want to end public hearing. You'd want to continue it to a date and time certain. But if the board does want to close the public hearing, just understand you can't take any additional information at a later date.
No further comments.
Correct. No further comments, no further data, et cetera. But I just want to make that clear before y'all voted, since
Yes.
one of the speakers did ask for additional data to be presented.
Senior district, like the sharing thing or anything.
I believe that the concerns have been addressed, and I don't have a problem with closing the public hearing to move forward with the vote. If that ordinance, you'll get that.
Put that in motion.
I will make that a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion, second.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Rosenplant and a second by Commissioner Collins. All in favor? We are now out of public hearing.
And I would like to make a motion, it is my district, I would like to make a motion to go ahead and, the change that's being sought is from industrial to residential. And with the conditions that will be met with the, that have been outlined with the main concern in the water runoff and the engineering report that would come forth before any permitting is allowed for the building of the project.
So we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second motion by Rosenplant and a second by Commissioner Threadgill. All in favor? Pass. Thank you, Bill. What I'd like to do at this time, if you don't mind, is we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Let's just give a lot of y'all a chance to exit if you don't want to stay. You're more than welcome to stay. We'd love to have you stay, but if you'd like a chance to exit out and not watch the rest of the commission meeting at this time, we thank you for being here.
I just wanted to, because I've had that come up in another county.
Nice to meet you. Seeing you around.
Yes. Whatever gets them. It's actually getting me open, but that's.
Didn't you Before I'm going, I'm sure they'll be here in a minute. All right. Mic back on, mic back on. All right. So we're gonna go right on into the second one of the public hearing. Is case number 2024-001, special use request from Patrick Dale for a family cemetery located on parcel number 140, map 002 on 0.28 of an acre. And that's in my district 1. I have a motion to go into the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Plant and a second by Frederick, and all in favor. We are now in the public hearing for this number 2, and I think Mr. Sandra, go ahead.
All right. I said this is rezoning, it's rezoning special use application number 2024-001. Parcel 140-002 is for the special use request of 0.28 of an acre for the use of the family cemetery. Mr. Dale has made an application requesting the 2.8 acres to be approved for the use of the family cemetery to be known as the Macy Dale Family Cemetery. The application was heard by the Planning Commission on 1/16/24 and is allowed as a special use in the A1 zoning. Considering the facts listed above, it is the recommendation from the Meriwether County Development Department and the Planning Commission for the approval of the special use request of the 2.8 acres for the use of the family cemetery.
I think we have Miss Dale here instead of Patrick Dale, her husband. He had to be out of town, I believe. So if you go ahead and take your name and address and say what you'd like to say.
My name is Susan Dell and my address is 2961 Alvaton Road. So we own that lot, and then my dad's right next door at 3091. So in all, we've got, several lots there. But we had the survey done just because we're going to live there forever. We're going to be laid to rest there. Probably most immediately, my second oldest son and his wife are pregnant with twins who are conjoined. So those two baby girls share one heart. When they're born, they'll probably pass away pretty quick. So we are hoping that you guys will approve this today, and we're gonna just do whatever it is we have to do to be ready for whenever that comes, probably sooner rather than later. So thank you for your consideration and your time and what you're doing here tonight.
Thank you in my heart. I know the person. And I'm sure there's no one here signed up to speak against it or for it. And commissioners have no other comment. We'd have a motion to go out of the public hearing. Motion by Vice Chair Worsley. And do I have a second?
Yes.
And
second. Any direction?
what's that?
Motion by Brian, second by.
Oh, yeah. Second. I'll turn this out of here and if I don't hear Brian sometime. Okay, motion Brian, second by Rosa, and all in favor. And we're now out. And we have a motion from the board to accept this.
So moved.
Second. From Mr. Brian, motion. And
Help me out on one.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to get used to that. I was asked if I would kindly name each one that does it to help them when they've got a really busy night and keeping up with notes. So it gets me a little tongue twisted trying to go, okay, and I don't want to call the wrong name. So, but anyhow, we have a motion to second, all in favor. There you go. Thank you, Ms. Dale.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move right on to number 3, case 2024-002, request to close a section of Weaver Road, District 1. And that's my district. And go ahead, Mr. Son.
Nope, you got to go into.
Oh, no. So anyhow, that being said, we're gonna have a motion to go on into a public hearing.
So moved.
We got one
Second.
and Brian, and a second by Worsley, and all in favor, and we are now in a public hearing. Ms. Cassandra.
All right, this is in reference to the road closure application 2024-002. This is the portion of Beaver Road from the railroad track to Beaver Lake Road. It is in Mr. King's district. Ms. Kathy Alfred has made the application for the closure of this Weaver Road. It's definitely impassable. And after speaking with the road department, other staff here, Mr. Thurengay as well, it is recommendation from the staff that this portion of Weaver Road be closed. And I do have.
We mentioned a while back, please. Absolutely. Yes, sir. And what you guys are hearing tonight and have to decide on is whether or not this road should cease to serve a public purpose. That's kind of the key to abandoning the road, which is what we're talking about. And this road was closed back during some floods. We had a washout here several years ago. We graded the road back out in the hopes of getting in, but you can't get in because there's no grade crossing of the railroad, so it doesn't really go anywhere. And so we do recommend and feel like this does not serve a public purpose, and we would recommend abandonment of that road.
And does Ms. Kathy have to speak at all?
She's welcome to, but
yes, we're gonna make a decision. So, yeah. All right, well, with that being said, I'll be gonna come out.
yeah, just ask her, anybody in the audience that wants.
I didn't see nothing here, so you're right. Is there anybody here that wants to speak against this little piece of road being closed or something? I can see that. If no other one's got comments made, we'll make a motion to go out of this public hearing.
So moved.
We got one from Brian and seconded.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so we are out of public hearing, and this is in my district, and I went over and looked at, if you was to go by there right now and look at it, you wouldn't even know there was a road there. It looks like our driveway.
I had to call and ask if I was in the right place.
What's that?
I had to call you next to I was in the right.
Yeah, she did. She called me. She said, "Where's this road?" She kept talking. She goes, "I'm looking at this little gray house or whatever house and everything." I said, "You're in the you're in the road." She said, "This is a driveway." I said, "No, that's the road." So that showed how long it's been grown up. And so I'd like to make a motion that we close this road.
I would make a motion that you abandon the road.
I mean, abandon.
Yes.
So I will rephrase that as, since it's in my District 1, I'd like to make a motion to abandon this section of the road that goes to the railroad track.
I'll second it.
You got my motion, you got Brian's second, all in favor? Thank you, Ms. Kathy. I think you're waiting a while for it, but it finally happened. Thank you for coming. All right, so we're gonna move into number 4, amendment to chapter 20, article 4 of the Code of Ordinances of Marion County Recreation Advisory Board. You can share that with us.
Yes, we will share that with you. Yeah.
Need to go to public hearing.
Oh, okay, all right. So we are going, I didn't know, I thought that was, I saw all these others said case.
Right.
So I just assumed that we're now on number 4. I didn't realize that. Apologies. So we need a motion to go into public hearing on this amendment to chapter 20, article 4 of the Code of Ordinances of Marion County Recreation Advisory Board.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
And we got a second. And see, they're speaking up loud, so I'm not gonna keep calling out their name. But we got it. So all in favor? Okay, so now we are in a public hearing for this number 4.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Some time ago, the board had asked about, we talked a little bit about the Recreation Advisory Board. This has been amended a couple times through the years. The issues we've had is with the board's inability to get a quorum here and be able to attend and make some, some useful information coming forward that the board could use. So one of the problems has been that the board consisted of 9 people. And obviously the commissioners only got like, I think 5 picks and then 4 picks from other, cities and others. So anyway, that board had a hard time doing that. So we talked last time, you guys have suggested that maybe we lower that to 5-member board. That would be, each one would be appointed by commissioner. And so what we've done is we've made some changes to do that. Being as this board has now expired once in place, we'll need to go back and do a staggered term. And what that will mean is office will be 2-year terms. But we'll have to, in order to get them on where everybody's not open at one time, and we have a, staggered board, we'll need to appoint one group for 1 year, another group for 2 years, and then the third year, we'll appoint that group appointed 1 year for 2-year term. So that will allow you to set it up and have a staggered term where all of them don't come and go off at the same time, okay? And so that would be our recommendation, our changes here. We also have changed that they meet maybe quarterly as a requirement. And the only other thing that I changed this afternoon, I was reading this again, it was down at the end, it says the chairman or vice chairman and any 3 voting members will constitute a quorum. And I think with only 5 members out there, that's not really workable. I would say chairman or vice chairman or 3 voting members could produce a quorum, because the chair or vice chair, one of them or both of them may not be here. And if they're not, the 3-member board out of 5 still couldn't have a meeting. So I think we change that maybe to that. That's a consideration.
Well, could it not be based on like ours? If the chair and vice chair are not here and there's still a quorum, we can still run the meeting.
That's right.
Would it not fit within the same parameters for that?
It does. And that's why I changed it, because up till then it's not. It's saying you got to have that chairman or vice chairman there. And I mean, that may be okay with 9 members, but with 5 members, it just doesn't work. So I recommend we change that to basically, we really could probably take the language out.
Just have any 3 members.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just say any 3 voting members. That would probably suit that. So that would work. So anyway, that's the change I would recommend make.
Any more discussion or question with the board?
So what, summarize what you're proposing there, please.
Okay, so what I propose that we change from 9 members to 5, okay? That we allow for a, staggered terms. So what we'll do is we'll appoint part of them, you guys will, for 1-year term. The rest of them will be appointed for 2-year term. And then that 1-year term, when it expires next year, will be appointed for a 2-year term. So we'll get them all in place. And then from there, we say that they'll meet quarterly, got to meet at least quarterly. And then from there, that any 3 members would be a quorum. And then their criteria for them to, for their attendance, they can't miss a whole bunch of meetings and still be on there. If they're notified and you guys are notified, you could reappoint. And it lays out the duties and responsibilities, which is really to advise. They're not responsible for the budgeting, the planning, the supervision, and whatever. They're to come and advise you guys, hey, we think this would be a great idea as recreation in our community. And they work with you guys in the recreation department, recreation director, whoever, administration staff and all, to be sure that we move forward and have good facilities and good thoughts and ideas and programs.
Any other questions? That's it. Being said, we have a motion to go out.
To call to see if anybody wants to speak, but either for or against.
Yeah.
I looked around and knew what nobody out there, so I didn't bother. I guess it has to be that.
Still good, because they.
On the mind.
It'll get you into a habit.
So we'll make sure we got it right. I appreciate that. Anyhow, is there anybody around that here in the meeting today that would like to make a comment about what he just discussed? Nobody's got nothing to say, so now I'm gonna ask the board, somebody to make a motion to go out to public hearing.
So moved.
We have a motion, second. And second, all in favor? We are now out of public hearing. Okay. So we're gonna need to take action on that, or that's just advice?
You will need to take action to make those changes to the.
Do I have
I would make a motion to change the ordinance, chapter 20, article 4 for code of ordinances for the recreation advisory board to a 5-member board, where we would have staggered terms. The first group would be 1 year and the second group 2 years. That would at least meet quarterly, and that a quorum would be constituted with 3 voting members, and the duties and responsibilities would be outlined with advisory duties only. I make that in form of a motion.
I'll second.
We got a motion, we got a second, all in favor? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. Put that together. Next on the agenda is under appointments is DFAX to fill a vacant term that will expire on 6/30/2024, District 1. That is my district. I have a lady I'm working with. Her husband just passed away, so I've been talking with her. I think she would do a great job, but I would like to make a motion to table this to the next meeting.
Second.
Yeah, motion on the second, all in favor? Thank you. Number 2, Planning Commission to fill an unexpired term that will end on 1/5/2025, District 4. Mr. Bryant?
Make a motion to table until next meeting. Second.
We got a motion and a second, all in favor? Number 3, Public Facilities Authority to fill a term that expired on 12/31/23.
I'll make a motion to table.
Got a motion, got a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? That's been tabled also. Number 4 is the Lake Mayweather Advisory Board to fill an appointment that will expire on January 28, 2024, and this is in District 2. This is a 2-year appointment.
And this is my district and I'm having playing phone tag, so I'll table this as well.
Is that a motion?
That form of motion.
Second?
Second.
You got a motion second, all in favor? Table. Number 5, the Lake Mayweather Advisory Board to fill an appointment that will expire on January 28, 2024. This is District 4, and this is a 2-year appointment.
And I'm gonna break the chain of table and reappoint Robin Wilkerson. I did speak to her and she said she would love to serve again, so that is in the form of a motion.
Second motion to reappoint.
Second.
You got a second, all in favor? Thanks for getting that done. We don't have to take it. All right, going into unfinished business.
There's none.
That-
There's none.
Oh. Okay. I always look at him to see if he's got something he wants to mention. All right, so we're gonna go right on into new business. Number 1, discussion of the recreation agreement amendment and addendum with the city of Manchester.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, back in, I think it was November, we realized that the intergovernmental agreement for countywide recreation with the city of Manchester and Marietta County was about to expire. So at that time, the board discussed options of what to do with it. And there was a thought that maybe we would extend that or ask it to be extended for a period of 1 year to allow us to be able to set up, recreation opportunities and all in the county, understanding that just, at some point, this agreement needed to end. At that time, and this was, of course, with the same dollar amounts that were been paid previously, and under the same terms and conditions that had existed previously. The feedback we got at that time was a desire to move all of the recreation activities to the city of Manchester, and also to increase pretty drastically the dollar amounts that we were looking at in terms of having to pay. So we brought that back and we talked about that, and that wasn't something the board really wanted to do at that point. So we had to move forward and looking at other options, because we already do have a pretty strong program in Marietta County out of Woodbury and other locations. Anyway, I did understand that with changing administration here, there might be a rethinking of this. And so I got a call from you, Mayor. Glad to have it with us tonight. Scott Trimble, and he said they'd really like to readdress this. So what we did, we went ahead and had the recreation agreement, which we kind of have drafted. We went ahead and sent that, and they are now willing to extend this. And I'm agreement said to December the 31st, and I did that because I didn't want to have a November deadline date. Under the same terms and conditions as the original government agreement. And we further stated that any extension beyond December 31st, 2024 would require a renegotiation of the agreement, including the terms, the conditions, services, funding amounts. So the board had asked it to be done, but we didn't get a feedback, or we didn't get a favorable feedback, so we never took any action. And I do think that, and the mayor's here tonight, he can certainly speak to that. I do think that, you guys have already addressed it, am I right, David?
Yes.
Yes. So.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. You know, I first came to this county as a tourist 12 years ago. We bought our first property in Warren Springs 10 years ago. We moved here 5 years ago to Manchester. Did I ever expect to be standing in front of you as mayor of Manchester? Most people in Manchester didn't, and I didn't either. But I'm glad that I'm here. You know, my career has been built on collaboration in corporations, putting people in rooms that didn't want to be there to make very important decisions and make great programs. Manchester is as historically as I experienced it and said, I'm from Manchester. And people said, oh, we have been kind of an outsider. And I feel like for the first time, I get to introduce Manchester back into working collaboratively, working together, joining together with the commissioners and the other mayors to really plan our future together. Because this is a very exciting time in our city and very exciting time in our county. I can tell you that it is a mandate of myself as mayor and as our city council to work together, collaboratively, to build a better Meriwether County. In fact, I just talked with Carolyn McKinney today about how we get not only the mayors together, but invite the commissioners to come too, just to speak to what we are doing and how we can help each other. This is what I want to do. This is what my council wants to do. We can strengthen our county relationship. We can join together with the commissioners and the fellow mayors to cooperate, collaborate, and build something different. It's time. So this recreation agreement and the extension that we have already voted to accept as it was written, I believe the last version, Theron, that we had there. We feel as if recreation, our children are at stake here. Our children and families who turn to us as a county and say, we want to enjoy these sports. And we feel like, I cannot speak for the previous administration. I will tell you that there are 4 new people in the council, including myself as mayor. We have 1 returning, and he's all in favor of this also. We must change our behavior in order to grow smartly in this county. We have different growth. We have things going both in the north end. We have in the east end, in the south end. We must collaborate together so we do this in a smart way for our children and our families. This extension, what it does, what do we consider it doing? It extends a working system that I would, I'll speak to that in a minute. It extends a working system to allow us the time to develop the next. If we do this quickly, if we do this as you've had to scramble because of a reaction of a previous administration in Manchester. What I'm saying is we're not doing that. We are joining in. And we want to give the time for these families and the programs to continue in a very positive way, making a few changes as far as communication and clarifying for the different people involved. So that it's very clear during this year exactly how we can operate, and then specifically work on a strategic plan that makes something new. Why? Well, we have one group that is wanting to build subdivisions. We have a development in the south that will add 450 homes in 5 years. We all are moving in a direction, and we must plan together. So this extension, I believe, will allow us the time to really negotiate what is best for Meriwether County as a whole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone that have any questions for the mayor?
Yes.
If this agreement is done, does everybody in the county have access to Manchester's facilities and stuff like that?
We will maintain exactly what we were doing before. So yes, we will have access to the facilities that we have. Interactive play, I think it's a little late for basketball, but the baseball season would continue with interactive play. Right now, that's been being cut off because of this delay. And I admit it was my city that delayed it. And,
I mean, I really don't know, but I can tell you, Greenville could come down there and practice on the field.
Oh,
Is that the way it was?
I have my recreation director here. Is that how it was?
Recreation wise, yes. If there is a team in Greenville and there's not, right now, there's not a baseball or softball field in Greenville, yes, they are welcome to come to Manchester to practice, yes.
And Commissioner Collins, this is exactly why I think to move forward, even with this extension or addendum, as you're calling it, it's important to kind of lay that out so that everybody understands clearly what's happening this next year as we're negotiating a bigger plan. But I think this clarity to Greenville, to Woodbury, to all the participants is critical to lay that out clearly during this transition time. So that there's no questions like you're talking about. It's clearly defined by the
Yeah, I
agreement
just
that
want to
exists.
make sure that everyone in the county had access to Manchester facilities.
Okay, that agreement accommodates that.
And I would like to speak up on this particular issue. I've received a lot of calls. And I know for the Woodbury group and the teams over there and all, there may be some, they would like to be on their own. And with that being said, because I think they were put in a situation where they feel like everybody's moving forward. Meriwether Recreation is moving forward. And what was so disappointing to me is that you had Manchester, Meriwether County Recreation on Facebook, and then Meriwether's taken completely off after this vote, or and it made the papers and all. And to me, I was kind of upset that we were not notified before the board took action to no longer participate with Meriwether County. And I know for a fact, my years of being on the board throughout the years, recreation has always been a hot topic.
Yes.
And I can honestly say one of the elections I was in, I was accused of sending 500,000 to Manchester. And what happened to the money for the northern end of the county? And I said, well, look at me. Do I look like I have 500,000 to send? Let alone as a board, we've never done that. So I take it very personal that, especially with the money being sent to Manchester, and then when the Woodbury group has to really get secondhand items and then scramble to get the needed supplies, there's a lack of coordination. I think as long as you had Vic Dallas in the driver's seat, we have a working relationship that was fantastic. Today, I don't think that relationship is there. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if we need to come together as a council and commissioners, bring everybody in that's team players or whatever. But I'm not in favor of going back, especially when it made the paper like it did, and it made social media like it has. And I know for a fact in Greenville, every candidate that ran in Greenville ran on recreation. And I have no idea what the new boards would do for recreation if they were wanting to strike out on their own. But I'm a team player, and I would be more than willing to work. But I think there's enough hard feelings at this point. I don't know how we're going to move forward. And I'm really, I'm being very vocal, and I apologize if I've hurt feelings or anything. But with that being said, recreation is important for this county. It's very important. Our senior centers are very important now. But we've got to be equitable and we've got to be fair. And with that being said, I in no way would support sending all the money to Manchester and only use Manchester facilities. Woodbury's got a very strong program. And I have encouraged every member on this board to go and see what they're doing in Woodbury, because they're pulling from the north end of the county. And I know I've been in meetings in the north end of the county, and they've asked about how to participate. How can they get tons of recreation? And there again, to me, it's got to be community based. But all children and all adults should be entitled to the same services. And I realize geographically, those in the north end of the county, it's very difficult to make it to the south end of the county. But anyway, that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Anyone you have, Mr.
Yeah, I do want to talk. I think Manchester does a great job with recreation. I really and truly do. And, you know, we went into this because we were looking for a way to connect the county across the board. And that was one way that we did see to connect it. And some people do think that it is an extensive amount of money. I don't think it is really for what we can do. I will say I have had concerns too. And even though Manchester is my district, we were left out of quite a few things by the previous administration. So I appreciate you coming here tonight and letting us know what your thoughts and all are too. So with that, what I think is that we would like to be involved a little bit more in the major decisions of what Manchester wants to do prior to it being there and happening. I won't go into specifics, but that has happened a couple of times, and we felt like we were left hanging out with no decision with the amount of money that we put there. All the kids in the county do deserve it. I'm glad to hear that, you know, they can go down and they can practice and they can do whatever. And the collaborative part, I'm looking forward to sitting down and growing a situation, hopefully, over the next year with Manchester, with the other cities in the county too, and coming up, because I know Manchester would like to be out from under that umbrella of that amount of money that they have to put out every year for recreation if the county can eventually come up with an actual county-wide recreation and that we control. That would help your budget. It would help everything there too. But I do think we have to work collaboratively together to get it done. So thank you for coming here tonight and saying that's what you want. But major decisions and things like that, I would appreciate if we were involved in that.
Thank you.
Same thing. Echo some of the same sentiments, and I've been a part of the Manchester Recreation Board, I was for over a decade and things, and I agree with Chairman Threadgill. They've always done an excellent job that I was a part of and saw and experienced. Outside of Manchester, it's been a struggle. The geographic size of the county, as she referenced, population wise, they don't have as many children sometimes in Luthersville or Gay. You can't even form a team. Where do you go? And then it's hard and difficult to travel. You only have so many fields. You got to schedule practices. You need practice at 8 o'clock at night to get a field. We've got to do a better job as a county to figure out how do we centralize some of those things. My concern really is with the amount of money we send. I agree with Chairman Threadgill that it's not an exorbitant amount of money. So I hope citizens think so and look at the minutes and see what we approve in the budget. But in the years that I was there, I would travel with teams and take them to Luthersville to play in absolutely horrible conditions. It wasn't safe for children. Some of the areas that they go and play in, my understanding of what the funding is for is to help buy the equipment and maintain facilities across the county. Greenville, Woodbury, Luthersville, Gay, they don't have a recreation department to maintain a field so that those children can practice and then potentially have a home game where, you know, it is a long trip across the county. So it's a significant enough amount of money in my mind that some of the resources should be applied to some of those things to ease that burden of travel and safety on the road and thinking about the children. And you know, makes you, I mean, I honestly just wonder what do we do with all that money? Because it doesn't take that amount of money just to say, here, we'll do 4 more teams. So previous administration, what they did, I don't know. But I am in favor of working together. Even if, you know, there's different paths that we take, we've got to think about the children first, make sure they have opportunities during the transition or the growth. We don't leave anybody in the county out. It's all about the children and giving them those opportunities to learn and grow from what sports give them. I think as long as we keep that first in what we're doing, we'll come up with the right plan.
Thank you. What I'd like to add to it too, is Rose stated, she mentioned about going down to the program. I've had Carter reach out to me. I've been down numerous times to watch the basketball games. I was impressed. I think there's 153 kids down there right now because I'm trying to work out a thing with them. When they wrap up their game to have a little pizza party. So I had to know the numbers. But go down and watch them play and watch the little cheerleader squad team over there, Mayweather County Recreation Department, and and then even in baseball season last year to see what they're accomplishing down there with their teams. And I too have heard, I know we met as a board, discussed, and we made a motion to extend it because at that time we'd extended a year and get a game plan. Let's all figure out what's best for the kids. And it wasn't accepted, and that's not your fault. You wasn't the mayor at the time, and I appreciate you being here tonight. But since it didn't get accepted, since that time, attending the basketball games the other day and having phone calls, there's a lot of concern that you mentioned. It's sad to even think this, but each year the Manchester kids would get the new uniforms and then the old uniforms got passed down. And to me, I think it should be equal across the board. If we can't afford new ones for all of them, then everybody's, but anyhow, the concern I have is there's a lot of coaches involved in Woodbury and they're enjoying what they're doing. They're proud to be helping those kids. And there's just been outcry of maybe now's the time that Mayweather County goes in a different direction with the recreation department. And we haven't worked out completely those details. I don't know if this is just on the agenda for discussion or if it has to be anything in a motion tonight, but.
I'll bring it back to you guys. I mean, you could approve it, disapprove it, continue it, whatever. It's
Well, if it had something that had to be done, I myself would even make a motion to either table it till we have more discussion. And if we can't table it, then I'd make a motion that we continue with what we're planning on trying to do with our own Mayweather County in a whole. So I don't know, but I just, again, I've had some serious phone calls and I'd hate to see coaches and everybody upset and everything fall apart because they think it's an opportunity now to have respect and be treated equally. I do not want to do anything to hinder that. That's my opinion.
If I can respond, I think the opportunity presented itself with the feelings and that opportunity hasn't gone away. This deal does not close that door. This does ensure that the children will have an opportunity to be able to participate in events they want to participate in for the remainder of this year. If we don't do it, we don't have the time and the resources in the rest of the county to give them that opportunity. And I don't think doing this deal is going to now tomorrow, all basketball games got to move somewhere else. They'll continue to do what they're doing at Woodbury. They're already established. We just want to have fun. So I agree with what you're saying with the sentiment, the concern that people are saying that, and it's concerning, and it needs to be a path forward. But my opinion is that if we table it, we're not going to get any different information or resources for us to be able to help the children for the seasons that are coming up. But I'll support whatever the board wants to do.
And I do want to add a little bit too. I do think that we need to move in our own direction at some point, but I think we need to continue with this situation currently and go forward so that we can all plan together as to what happens. But a lot of times too, Manchester does put a large sum of money into this recreation. You don't have that from the other cities. So to say some of the things that have been said, I do think that it's kind of bashing a little bit tonight for the simple fact that we have a city that is putting in a large amount of money to help support, and they did go years ago with us to try to do this where no other city has put in any money or been willing to step up to do that. So I think we have to look at that as a whole too. We can't just look at the fact that we should pull out and we should do our own, because what are we going to have at that point? We're still going to have cities outside that are not contributing to this, but are wanting extensive recreation across the county for everybody. So I think this is an opportunity for us to sit down over the next year to work out more specifics and a directive into which we want to go, including Manchester, including the other cities, because they're within the county too. And we're going to have that working together with everybody to be able to accomplish what we want.
We need time to develop that.
Right,
And this right now gives us time to do just that. Right.
I might suggest, if you guys are looking that way, that maybe we also get the two recreation programs we got going down together and be sure that they have a clear plan that everybody's fine with on how to retain what we've got, expand what we got, and incorporate that in with these guys, where we're not working against each other. Right now, we're pulling back.
That was the only reason why I was going to ask about, I know what you suggest, table it, because I get, no, the only reason I was thinking about tabling it.
Yeah.
Was to try to have some kind of meeting, you know, not just take action and all of a sudden we got a bunch of coaches that walk. And if I say anything that sounded like I was bashing, I apologize for that, what I was referring to, or what I was trying to say. Because, you know, the city of Manchester does put a lot of money into it, I understand that. But I don't care if they put $1 million into it, and we only put 200,000 in it. We're grateful that Manchester puts that money. I guess the point I'm trying to say is, no matter how much money they put in and what we contribute, I want to see the kids treated equally.
Right.
I don't want these kids in a rundown couple-year-old uniform while everybody in Manchester has a new one because they put more money in. But if you think about it, a lot of these kids don't even live in a city. They might just live out here in the county. Yeah, I mean, Gabe's small. We're not gonna get that many players from Gabe. You know, how many come from Louisville, I don't know, but we have a large county. So once you leave, you know, Manchester, everybody else is either in the county or maybe. So if I say anything like I was bashing, I apologize, because not that. My heart is for the kids. And if somebody was presenting something tonight that's gonna be like, man, this is amazing. You know, I would jump for joy, but also, as he mentioned, I would just like to bring some of the others who have been putting a lot of hours and work into the program to have some feedback from them, and then we make a decision as a whole. Manchester, the guys that are involved in this board. I would like to see that, it's up to the board.
And I agree, and I wasn't saying one person bashing. I said it sounds like a lot of bashing to Manchester tonight. And I'll be honest with the board, what I've thought over the period of years that I've been doing this is with what we put into Manchester, the 150,000, if we can all sit down with the cities and come up with something, it's gonna be, if we do this on our own, we're probably gonna be looking at 1.5 to 2.5 million a year to run a recreation. But if we do it smart and get with the cities, and where we do 150 with Manchester, it may go down to 100 a year for Manchester. It may be that with these other cities, Greenville, Luthersville, Woodbury, that we may have to put in $100,000 into each city in order to grow and to maintain what they have within each city to keep the recreation going. And then we have the facilities everywhere to go. And it may be cheaper to put in the 400,000 a year and help out the cities too, to continue this than it would be to 2.5 million a year to run our own recreation. Coaches are good to put in information, but I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, they're not responsible for the taxpayer dollars. We are. And I do appreciate their input because it does help us on that point to where we're not there coaching these kids and seeing certain things. So, but I do think that it comes down ultimately to the elected officials to maintain and to take care of those tax dollars. So, you know, over the years, like I said, I have thought about this to where we're probably going to have to put additional money into other cities to help them and to maintain their facilities, to grow their facilities for uniforms and things like that. And I think that's probably going to grow all of us together as a county. Instead of having the northern and the southern and the eastern and the western fighting all the time. When we get that fairness across the board, I think we're going to be successful across the entire county.
I'm not wanting the coaches to tell us how to run a county. Yeah. I just want to respect them and be part of it and have some input, because we do make the final decision, but if all the coaches just get mad and go, like, they don't appreciate us and walk, and then what are the kids doing then?
Well, I think, you know, with where we are, we have to have that meeting to be sure that we're all working together and keep those teams in place, keep that going for. And earlier today in the work session, we talked about SPLOST, and we talked about those tier 1 projects. You probably, and we'd have to check with Bud, but you probably could have a tier 1 project in there that could be recreation improvements, and all of the cities participate with that off the top before we get into you know, everything else. That way it didn't put it just back on the citizens and incorporating. Everybody has a little bit of skin in the game to get that done. That may be.
Well, this discussion here is pretty good. I don't know why we couldn't have a work session on recreation.
Next time. We get into what what we're actually doing is kind of a work session.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just going, because everybody's so dead, and it'd be nice if we were sitting here and have some coaches here, there visit again, and we left out there with a game plan.
Mayor Trimble's got, he asked to come together and just form a team, so it sounds like your work is cut out to come up with a team here, and that would be Commissioner.
It's one of the enjoyable ones that I would have. And I would love to make a brief response. As I look at the agreement that exists, I don't think it's being used like it should be. For instance, we do have in the contract that exists a way of maintaining a field in Woodbury. I don't know that we want to wax the gym floor, but we have ways that can be requisitioned, and the repairs, the light bulbs, the toilet paper, those kind of things. It's not being used. That's when I was saying we need to identify right now to continue this, the clarity for everyone that, okay, you're not just out there on your own. The inequities as far as uniforms and things like that, it's time to be done with that. That's why we must move together in a smart way. This is not Manchester alone and, oh yeah, we're doing y'all a favor. Those days are gone. That's not how I work. That's not how my council works at this point in time. We are serious about making sure that the coaches you're talking about are involved, informed. I'll go talk to them. I'll make sure they understand how this existing contract through this year works, so that they know how to requisition what's necessary. And so that and that's in there, that's in the contract. Whether it was being done, whether it was being requisitioned, I take no culpability there because I really don't know. I was surprised as y'all in this vote. When I observed it, that's all I was a citizen observer. I'm not now.
Well, I know we can't keep tabling this, and action needs to get done here shortly, for the benefit of the county. But I would love to see us at least table it to next month with the understanding that we're gonna reach out to the coaches, recreation department, any commissioners, if there's gonna be more than three, like a work session, and maybe, so everybody leaves there feeling good.
Yeah.
The coaches feel like this is great. We're getting somewhere and everybody's happy. And then I think that'd be the opportunity to extend it, and we'll see how the year goes. And that's my opinion. So
I think instead of a whole bunch of coaches, maybe what we might want to do is have coaches get together and select a slump with that. And then have.
well, I don't know how many coaches, I didn't mean all of it,
Yeah.
but I would,
Yeah.
if
But
like
then they all
Arthur and
show up.
another one will cover their.
That can turn into a,
Yeah, they could.
I'll be real nice.
Yeah, they can turn into picture. So anyway, then we get like, Randy in, others in that we talked to about working recreation. And let's just
And the
work
mayor
out the details.
from
Yeah.
their-
You guys with the mayor and their recreation, and just work out the details of how this needs to work.
Well, I'll be
Even
glad.
in this coming year.
Maybe a couple of the council members.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna come, we can even do a shared meeting. They can bring in their full council, we can do ours. They bring theirs up, we bring ours up. We can have a dual meeting. We've done it before with cities. So that way we can have their full council, we can have our full board and go from that point and discuss those points. But I do think it is imperative that we go ahead and move forward with this and with the plan to discuss over the remaining 11 months of the year with Manchester, with the other cities, with the coaches as to what we want to do and come up with a more definitive plan by the end of year for Recreation 2025. So I would like to put in the form of a motion that we move forward with the contract that was brought before us, agreed upon by Manchester, and that over the next 11 months of this year,
Change that motion on the floor.
He didn't make a motion. No, he just said that's my suggestion.
Well, earlier I was trying to make a motion about that week.
But there wasn't a
We
motion.
talked some more, and so I don't know, Miss Debbie could straighten this out,
I
but
don't think you actually made.
Yeah.
that's fine, that's fine.
You led into it, you actually.
Right.
Okay.
Just White didn't pull it off.
But I would
Go
like to
ahead, sir.
continue with that contract over the next 11 months, work collaboratively, that's a word for me tonight, with Manchester and the other cities, the coaches. Let's have a dual meeting with the city of Manchester to discuss what we can do. Because it's like we all have said up here tonight, the most important thing is the children. And if we continue that at this point, I think that they'll all be covered, and then we can come up with the specifics as we go. And that is in the form of a motion.
and before I ask for a second, I lost my thought for a second. Oh man, it dropped my, because I was thinking what you just said there. So in your motion there to move forward with it, but it would be with the understanding that they know where we're coming from about.
Yeah, in the motion, it
It's
says,
saying we get the kids can go to Manchester, use their facilities.
It's in
it's in the contract.
So,
Yeah, better explanation of the
got a
contract.
motion we got a motion? One second.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor? All opposed? Yeah, this time for like support, but I think we're gonna get there real quick. I think I would love to have, even like he suggested, the council here too, or set at the round table with some council members like Commissioner Collins says, and some couple of coaches, couple of commissioners, and then at that time, I believe, I would think if we walk out there on the same page, it'd be unanimous vote.
You could, have a board committee if you wanted to. It's up to you guys.
Have what?
Look at a committee, look at it further with a couple of, the commissioners, the staff here, maybe our recreation folks could meet with them if you wanted to.
I mean, it's gonna be January 2025 before we figure out who in the hell is gonna sit where and decide what.
Yeah. So anyway, we do that. I mean, it kicks it down the road, but you know, if you do it pretty quickly, that's an option.
Well, that's what I was asking. I wasn't asking to drag it out. When I was talking about meeting, I was, how quick it can legally be. I don't have to be advertised or what, but just as quick as we can put that group together or committees to look at it. And my suggestion was what the motion was by next month, this is done. We're moving forward with Manchester or we're gonna do our own thing, but everybody would know where they're staying and can't complain later about it. What I'm getting.
And we as staff just need to know where we need to go with this.
All right, if that's
Can I
enough,
ask
I
Tangi-
just want to put that in form of a motion to.
I didn't yet. I was just talking.
Well, I know, but what I'm trying to get to, fix it, put it in the form of a motion to table this for a month. And in the meantime, let's hold those meetings, whether it's a core group or whether it's all the members coming together, whatever it is, but something is set up within the next 2 weeks that we can come together and come to a consensus so that when it comes back before the board at the, and I would say the next Tuesday night meeting, which
Right.
will give us 1 month, the 27th of February. Then we can move forward with the agreement at that time. But in the meantime,
Is that a motion?
that is in the form of a motion.
I have a motion.
Can I ask a question before we get there?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Tangi, when are you gonna open registration for baseball and softball?
It's already open. The deadline is February the 5th. There is a late fee of February the 15th, and we're doing drafts on February the 26th.
So,
And the same thing is happening in Woodbury right now too.
for baseball and softball.
Basically.
Like girls softball.
repeat that, because it don't come through.
That's what Carter said, right?
Yeah.
Baseball.
Softball was to be
Softball and baseball.
is the registration swing or?
It's now until February the 5th. With February the 15th being the absolute last day.
Registration.
Yes, ma'am. And then drafts are gonna be February the 26th. And that's when we put everybody per age in a draft and the coaches pick the team. We don't have one certain group that has one team. Everybody is drafted so that the teams are evenly matched. What we don't want is one team full of strong players that are coming out there and beating another team 20-0. Because I mean, that's just gonna beat that team down and
Yes.
and they're not going to want to play. Those kids that are out there who want to be there and who want to play, who are getting defeated 20-0, that's going to be their one and only year of coming out there and playing, because they're not going to want to come back next year and get demolished like that.
So can I ask one more question while you're up there? So for the children outside of Manchester, without this agreement, they will have to pay an out of city fee now?
Well,
technically, we have done that in the past, but we actually waived that this year. I mean, we're not, normally in the past, when the two were separated, we did charge an out-of-city fee. Because we haven't all come together and settled this, we've waived that. So all we're doing is charging the registration, which covers uniform, which everybody gets a new uniform every year. There is no hand-me-down, there is no, anybody gets old, everybody gets a new uniform every year. Every sport, every season, it's a new uniform. Unless like football, now if they have, because in our football, the teams stay by age groups. If they keep the same uniform from the prior year, then the new players are the only ones that have to pay for their uniform. Other than that, there's no fee.
Well, with the motion on the floor, the question I would have, normally I think we get a motion second, then discuss, but, since this board at one time was going to ask for an extension with Maywood, with Manchester,
Yes, sir.
and it was turned down. That forced us to go into discussions. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Talk to our coaches. It put us in a mode
Right.
to figure out what we're going to do. So you wasn't the mayor at the time, but since that did take place, would we be asking too much for the city of Manchester to give us to that February date just to work out the little details, and hopefully we're all going to put the hand at the same time and extend it, and we've all come together with all the confusion?
Well, what are you asking for? For them to extend the registration deadline to drafts?
No.
For us to do that, because that's the date that's concerning.
No, I'm saying, can't we move forward? The kids still come out there, and I may be wrong about this. Can't they still come on out, register and go while we're waiting to work this final detail out, February?
They can.
And then they could just play Woodbury teams can play against Manchester teams.
Right, he's got a motion on the floor.
She does.
I second
You know, we got a motion second. All in favor?
All right, so, because all the talk, give me, all right, good.
So the motion and opposed to, so the motion is for us, whoever's going to, whether blue, because you got your plate full, whoever's going to organize this group to get together, have this very extensive conversation real quick to resolve all the questions, you know, people are asking questions, and then let's roll with this recreation department.
Can I say something right
Please
quick?
do.
There is a difference between recreation ball and travel ball. And what I don't want to confuse is the coaches who are coaching a travel ball team to come in here and make decisions for recreation, because recreation is for all kids. It is not for you come and you try out, and those that are selected are for travel ball. Two totally different entities. And I think that's where, when you asked that, I wondered if it was because we have put together a rental facility fees. And this is coming from Troup County, Lamar County, Thomaston, Pike County. I have called all surrounding counties to find out what they charge for travel ball facilities to come and use their facilities. And they do, they charge a fee.
Yeah.
Thomaston just went up to $600 per field per day.
Pay $300 a month and more.
And that's what I just want, when y'all are talking about bringing in coaches, I just want to make sure we're talking recreation
Okay.
coaches and not.
And the money we're talking about is strictly for recreation.
Exactly.
It doesn't fund travel ball.
Exactly. That's,
Yeah, I'll make sure of that.
yeah, no, that's my point.
So your proposals on dates, it makes things tight, but we're doing it as quick as we can. And we are in on the negotiations.
Well, I look forward to having that meeting ASAP.
What is the draft for the softball, baseball?
February 26th.
February 26th.
Yes, sir.
I mean, maybe if Randy and Woodbury has teams that are being, signed up at the same time, maybe they could be incorporated into each other's program, play each other, as long as they have the, I understand not putting a travel team in or.
Well, travel team's not recreation. No,
It's not recreation.
I guess that's the question I was asking, with us asking for, and a courtesy of 30 days to work out the details, since we was not accepted from the get-go. That's what I was trying to get at. Can they still have their teams here, their teams there, and all the kids play, you know, while we get through this. And by the time you're picking the next sport, this is all behind us. We're all hopefully happy about it.
Even if you had where the rules Woodbury's taken and selected the teams from the age standpoint, consistent with what they are doing, you might could still, even after sign up, incorporate those teams. Now, if the ages are different or whatever, they don't work out, I understand that. But it might very well be that you still can put those teams together and play. I don't know until.
The age restrictions will be dependent on how many children the ages. So I mean, she probably remember one time I had 13 and 18 was the same age group, right? Softball player.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a 13-year-old softball player and an 18-year-old, but we had to play that way.
Yeah. And then when you get into the younger ages, sometimes, you know, our disability not be able to catch and whatever, you want to kind of keep those pretty tight together.
So thank y'all for waiving the fee. That does solve some of this, or at least the children can go, the parents are not paying extra money.
Right.
And bringing things together will not be cumbersome at that point.
But I do have a question for legal. We voted on this back in November, Michael, to extend the 1-year contract. Manchester is the one that did not move forward with that with a different board. We never went in and retracted that. Yes, we did make a vote tonight, but we had never retracted that vote that happened back in November to move forward with that contract. Where do we stand legally on that? Because it was never brought back.
You have an offer, you have an offer, you didn't have an acceptance, so you didn't have a contract.
But we had an agreement here.
They have passed something that is different than, because they passed the addendum that Theron had drawn up, so that's a counter offer that's being brought to this board.
All right. I
All
tried.
right. We're gonna move right along there.
So make sure I got that, Mr. It's for us to go back, gotta get these together ASAP, work all this stuff out and bring it back on the 27th. Is that?
I thought.
No, I was hoping, if I missed that, I'm hoping that Blue or whoever's gonna reach out to them, to the mayor. And if you was to call and go, hey, next Thursday at 3:00.
Yeah.
We plan to have a meeting in Manchester if they want it, or right here at this table or whatever. I'm hoping that within a week's time, we're talking this out. So we're all, everybody, and you know how people in this can't like it's
You
all.
just read the motion back, right? Seems to be confusion on what the motion was.
The motion was simply just to table it, I think, with the understanding that y'all would do something in the meantime. But the motion that was on the table was just they can table it till the 28th or 7th.
Yeah.
I'm not walking out slamming the door tonight, but I do need to leave.
Okay.
And I'll just remind both boards that, you know, you'll have notification requirements if you're calling for them, et cetera, even if it's in a joint session.
Sounded the same.
Yeah, I think I understood her motion. She put in there to,
I just want to make sure we were. doing
so what we would like, or the board like is, in other words, does it have to be advertised?
Yes.
What's that?
If you're gonna meet with quorum, it's gotta be advertised.
So whatever the days are that has to be advertised to have a legal meeting like that, I would like to get with the mayor, find out who's coming, get with Carter, who's coming, and the board members to get it advertised so we don't go, oh, we can't have the meeting, it didn't make the paper, and let's.
We could take care of that,
Just let us know when to be there, and I'd love to have the vice chair there too, his kids play ball.
Can the staff print post out the fact that the city rec is waiving those fees, that there is not a current agreement, but that the city of Manchester has waived the out-of-town fees, so children be no extra cost for you to go and enroll your child to play. It can be critical to some families that they can be upset by the decisions or not have the funds to go do that, and if they know that's not there, they'll still go play.
Probably needs to be a joint statement from.
It would be perfect if Tangi would do that from the rec department.
Yeah.
Would be the best way to get it out, but.
We get 2 people tonight. I'm also acting city manager, so. I didn't say that will happen.
Thank you, because I think it would help a lot of people to clear up, and at least they know they're not gonna have to pay more money.
But the majority of people won't even know that there's not even an agreement or, not agreement or agreement. Because.
Yeah, we hope.
I don't know, as much noise has been going around calling all of it.
Well,
I think most of the people know something.
Right. Okay.
I just don't want the kid to miss out. That's all.
Bishop Plant said, if we get this worked out ahead of time, we'll bring it back next meeting, just slow and put it over the agenda.
Yeah, we can get it worked out the next 2 weeks. We can make, we don't have to wait till February.
Right.
Although the motion said February, next 2 weeks will be good. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
We'll make it happen.
All right, well, thank you so much, and I appreciate everybody's involvement in all that. We're gonna move on to number 2, call for the referendum on the T-Splosh, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Commissioners, wanted to mention this, we'd already worked on one, item to go on the ballot that's going on in March. And I think our thought was maybe we could do work on getting the T-Splosh going in May. When we started pulling the documents and looking at it, we actually have some work to do before we get to the T-Splosh. I know Michael and Nathan have talked to a bond attorney who know for a long time, and he said you gotta have this, we can get there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to have an intergovernmental agreement with the cities on the distribution of those funds. And we got documents here, we can work on updating these. And so what we're looking at now is to have this referendum in November, the ballot in November. That will give us time to be able to put everything together we need, meet with the cities, do the distribution. And then we could go out, and also give us time to go out and make presentations on it. And with those presentations, we can also include such as some of the stuff here, what the cities want to do with theirs. And so we're making it inside, say, Greenville, presentation. We can include Greenville in that. We're in Lucasville, we prevented that. In Manchester, we prevented that. And it'll be a good way for us to get together and we could show the unity of that too. So, really just to let you guys know that we're gonna need to do this in November, and we'll go ahead and start to put all the documentation together. Okay. Right. Very important.
Yes, sir, it is. Go move right on number 3 there. Excess funds due to the state of Georgia from the tax commissioner's sale of property.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. In front of you have agenda item for tax commission fee increases been going through the books, trying to clean up everything. There was a check written in 2017 by Mr. Peacock. That was excess funds due to a tax sale. One person came forward and claimed $12,000, and we need to turn over $51,229.99 back to the tax commissioner. So she's already reimbursed or sent them to the state for excess funds. So this is not a budget item, so I need board's approval to write a tax commissioner a check for $51,229.99.
Well, to briefly explain what happens to that, if there's a sale, can you correct me if I'm wrong, there's a sale for the courthouse door, and this is say there's $5,000 owed. Somebody bids it out and gets sold off, it's $10,000, and that $5,000 goes back into the fund. Now, the owner could come back at some point and claim that $5,000 because they paid more than what he owed them. But if he doesn't after a while, then it becomes surplus. And of course, the state here several years ago decided even surplus funds, even your bank account, personal bank account, is sent to the state and it becomes delinquent. That's what we're facing with that. Am I right with that? And we appreciate the good job.
Sales back in 2017. So, the money needs to be sent to the state as unclaimed funds.
We wish we'd keep it here.
All right, number 4 is the extension of the building. I think they need. So just to accept it.
Just to
Motion
approve
to
the
authorize them to pay.
right.
I make a motion to authorize the refund to the state. Basically, it's a refund, right?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
We appreciate what Dee has done to get to this point.
Number 4, an extension of the filming of the covered bridge in Mr. Cole.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last meeting, we approved filming at the covered bridge for a production. Right before this meeting tonight, he called me and said, hey, our schedule got pushed back just a little bit. So what I'd like to ask you guys to do would be to add maybe up to a week to the end of the film permit to allow it to continue until March the 1st, rather than the date of, I think, the 22nd is what was on there.
We moved the beginning date with it.
He
said they've been pushed back.
Yeah.
Put the citizens under.
The dates he gave me were 2/7 to 3/1, and I believe that, do you remember how close that is?
I thought it was 2-2.
2/2. Okay, so yeah, so it is being pushed back to 2/7.
So he's
Ah.
moving both a week front.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not quite a week. 2 to 2/7.
Well, yeah, not quite a week.
I don't.
Yep, February 5th to February 27th. So we're moving it 2 days on either end from 2/5 to 2/7, and then from February 27th to March the 1st. And all it is just a change on the dates. Everything else will remain the same.
Change the dates as requested.
Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move right along. Report from the county administrator.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we've been busy with a lot of the small lots that we're going to try to, work with various issues here and there, but working on the program we did today. So I really don't have a lot to report tonight. I'll have a little bit more to tell you guys about this.
How about you, Mr. Cole?
Same. We've covered
Good
everything.
on that. We'll move right into a report from the county commissioners. You always look forward.
No, I usually go after you.
There you go. Okay. All right, I just.
I precede executive session typically.
There you go. All right, well, Commissioner Collins.
I have nothing to report.
Okay.
I have nothing else.
That report. By Chairman Worsley, anything?
I just thank everyone for the work put in for the work sessions, some good information, good data laid out well. I enjoy these work sessions. I think we do more of them, maybe not every meeting. But I think we need to do more of them, and it's stimulating good conversation, good ideas, and we get, I think it's gonna move us in the right direction. I just appreciate what everybody's doing and hard work. Thank you.
And I'd like to use my few minutes, kind of like out of the norm. First, I want to welcome Georgia Transparency, Mr. Russell, for being here tonight. And I want to commend you on a lot of projects you do, and I watch a lot of them. When you go to these cities and you find these commissioners or mayors and so forth in corruption, because I'm a firm believer that people have to be accountable to the citizens. And I think you do a great job. I've even heard comment on how well you edit it and so forth. And the reason I'm taking the time to do this here, because when you do your other stuff, you edit out things you don't want to be seen or heard. And this is being all video, so it can't be edited out. I'm really concerned. I love what you do, and I've done in the process you're doing, but also I'm so concerned when you go around to these public buildings with the society we live in today. And so many crazy people that you never know what they're up to. I don't understand, like, if you came into one of our buildings and they said, "Could I help you?" If your response was, "I'm just enjoying and appreciating my rights to be able to walk around and check out your building," and so forth, and showed a little respect. But so many videos where they go, "Can I help you?" Normally they're asking if they can help you, because they don't know who you are, and you walk around with the camera and you stop there and you're staring down this doorway that's open to some lady that's sitting there doing her job, and they say, "Sir, can I help you?" And you go, "No." Well, then they're wondering, well, why are you there? And then when they try to ask you something else, you go, "I just want to be left alone." And to me, those kind of comments, and you have the freedom of speech, and so do I, gives concern. Like, is this guy fixing to go postal? I mean, is he fixing to video him pull out an AR-15? I mean, what's he doing? And I haven't seen one yet. And if you did have one, I'd back you up, where they were just real smart aleck and cussed you out and was disrespectful. But once I watched, they just always go, "Can I help you with something?" And instead of just saying, like over in Alabama there, I don't think you live in Alabama. I may be wrong on that. But just to go pick a courthouse to walk through, just to hope that somebody's going to cause a conflict, is so disrespectful to the people in government who are trying to do the right thing. But you are right. There's plenty that are doing under the table dealings and doing things they shouldn't be doing. And I don't know if you'll answer or not, but could you help me understand why the attitude is, I just want to be left alone. And they're looking at this big guy with a camera that goes, I just want to be left alone. To me, I would be even concerned that there's an issue here and nothing, and to top that off, if my wife came home and I saw a video where a man, such as yourself, was standing there only because of public place and could sit there and just zoom in on my wife doing her job as a county employee, I'd be very concerned, very concerned. But I maybe think you're a stalker or, you know, so, is there a reason why such a rude comments to these people?
I don't mind addressing it. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, come to the podium, please, really. And look, and don't turn it off.
Oh, no,
Well, ours ain't getting turned off. But,
I don't need to turn stuff off.
I would just really love to understand the smart aleck comments that makes people really quick get on the edge, because if my staff or our staff called me up and said you just left, I'd be very concerned. But I did commend you, and I commented on your stuff, that some of the stuff you do and your editing, and even it looks like a full-fledged TV news broadcast, and that's awesome. I'll give you that credit, but I just don't understand the disrespect.
To answer that, one question, and I believe Mr. Michael Hill can probably answer this for you. Is it illegal?
What's that?
Is it illegal?
No, it's not illegal. I'm asking for the moral ethics of you as a gentleman who served this country. I thank you for your service. No, it's not illegal. It's not illegal to be rude to a police officer. It's not illegal to be disrespectful to anybody. You have the right. So I guess what you're stating here tonight then is.
I'm very respectful. I feel that I'm very respectful.
When a lady comes up and says,
but however, you know, with that respect goes, it's both ways, you know, it's two ways. It's two ways. I give that respect until well, there's no one else out here. Our public officials commence to think that they have power over the people, when in turn, no,
they don't. And I
we
appreciate
have the
that
power
what you
over.
do. But I would just
over
hope
the
in the
people.
future, if someone says, can I help you? Why don't you tell them what you do and just say, I want to be left alone. And I know we should probably continue on this.
That's what I choose to
take my 2 minutes
say.
for this because I want it on open record too, as you
Lord,
like,
yeah.
and for
Most
everybody to
definitely.
watch it. But again, thank you for what you've done for corruption. But I'm going to ask you as a elected official, would you please, if you come to our county, show our staff some respect, even though it's not illegal and you're allowed to be rude. But show respect and you'll get a whole lot more done. Thank you, sir.
May I
Thank
ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I can ask you. You made the statement that you don't know if I live in Alabama or not.
I said I don't.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. Did you know that's covered under the US Constitution as well?
Yeah, I understand. And I just want to hear again, you have the right to go in there and walk around.
Exactly.
But I tell you this, Mr. Russell, if you'd gone into that courthouse and walked in by your video and walked over to take care of a marriage license or to go over there and take care of legal business and was respectful and walked out, nobody would have questioned
And I
why you
think
video.
I think it says also in the Constitution. And then Mr. Hill, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, because you are a licensed bar attorney. Oh, no, that's fine. And however, in according to the Constitution of the state of Georgia, we the people have a due diligence to hold our government accountable and check on our government.
Okay. Well, you keep holding them accountable and I don't blame you there, but it'd be nice if
Leave y'all forward.
I've got one last time and I appreciate that. But it just, if you show a little bit more respect, I think your job would be even better. Thank you, sir.
Y'all have a great day.
I
Thank you
want to
so
thank the
much.
staff and everybody that's for what they've been doing, and we've got the rain coming in. I hope Barry Lucas, and then we're ready to jump on the roads, and I have nothing else to say at this time, and if I held up anybody too long, what's up? Right, I'm not going for that. Well, that, we got anything from the county attorney?
I've got nothing to report. I understand that we can hold executive session at the next meeting, so.
Not tonight.
No, we don't.
That'd be great.
We don't have an immediate need.
That'd be great. Okay, so going right on to, nothing executive session for the future meetings, February 14th, 2024, regular meetings at 9:00 a.m. February 19th, 2024 is closed for President's Day. February 27th, 2024 is our regular meeting at 6:00 p.m. If there's nothing else from any of the commissioners or any of the staff, Then I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion second. Got a second, all in favor? We are adjourned at 8:25.